Hey, Big Sky Fellowship. Today's day 19, and chapter 19 of the Gospel of John is one that focuses on Jesus' crucifixion. And it's appropriate that we would be plunged into the depths of what Jesus did for us on Calvary, on also a Sunday morning where we will worship the Lord through spending time in His Word and through singing some songs. And so today, as you tune into the worship service, one of the things that preeminently we want to communicate is the gospel message of Jesus. And so you get the opportunity this morning to read that in John chapter 19. And specifically, John chapter 19, we've got where Pilate is trying to release Jesus. He's seeking ways to sort of let Jesus go. He doesn't necessarily want him to be crucified. And the Jews are adamant, crying out, crucify him, crucify him. And they come back to Pilate on more than one occasion, coming up with reasons for Jesus' crucifixion and the necessity of it. Pilate displays to them Jesus on one last occasion, and he says, "Here is your king," not knowing that Jesus truly is the king of the Jews, but that statement, here's your king, to which the people reply, "We have no king but Caesar." The Jews, God's own people, who begged for a king in the Old Testament, and God relinquished and gave them a king. But God was always the one who was meant to rule over them. Here, God is not only the one who seeks to rule over them, but God himself seeks to rule over them as his king. And he has displayed his king and the people. It was already foretold, and we know that Jesus is going to be crucified according to the scriptures. Jesus has foretold his crucifixion. But how sad it is where the actual king is before them, and the people reply, "We have no king but Caesar." We have no king but the earthly king who is over us, the king who cares nothing for the things of God, the king who is the one who actually oppresses us and keeps us in Roman rule and not our own nation, the nation that God created us to be. And as I read that, and then as I think about this morning being Sunday morning where we will worship Christ together, one of the whole purposes of our Sunday worship is to proclaim that Jesus is our King, to worship Him as our only King. And yet we have so many things vying for our attention and a world screaming at us, "Let me be your King." And so today the challenge would be for you to worship Christ as King above all else, for you to pull down any of the idols that would exalt themselves and say that they are king over you. Caesar told the people that he was their emperor and he was their God and he was their king. And they choose him in this instance instead of Christ. And so even this morning, you have the opportunity to choose Jesus over anything else. And so as you do that, part of our prayer challenge is to pray for the worship service. People will watch this from all over the country. People in different countries will watch this. And so as you're praying for our worship service, would you pray that Jesus would make himself known mightily as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords? And then I pray that you would enjoy this time with your family as we dive into the book of John on a little bit more in-depth look. And so thank you guys for reading up till this point in John. And now let's enjoy it together. Thank you.